Pizza.
Oh no, I'm late for class, locked in the library, and naked. How could this get any worse? Why did I ask? Don't look at me. I'm a terrible pony. I'm gonna fail my princess exam. For me? Aww. Wait, Luna, I'm still naked. Well, I haven't busted out the old birthday suit in a while anyway. Hello, my loyal subjects. Heather Blossom here, and welcome to Royalty Reviews. Today, or tonight, I have no idea, I will be reviewing not one, not two, but 3 episodes of My Little Pony, which I have dubbed the CMC Dream Arc. You may not have heard it called by this name, but you are no doubt familiar with these episodes as they feature everyone's favorite princess, Luna! I'm talking Sleepless in Ponyville, For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, and our most recent edition, Bloom and Gloom. All these episodes pretty much feature the same outline. One of the Cutie Mark Crusaders is feeling anxious, upset, and or uncertain of themselves and descend into fitful nightmares, to be rescued by our beloved starry-maned Alicorn. Of course, each Crusader is facing a different challenge, though the first 2 had the trend of their conflicts being related to their sisters, while the last installment wasn't so privy to that directly. And in my opinion, yeah, I'm saying it now, Bloom and Gloom is probably the weakest one out of the bunch. But more on that later. Now, each of these episodes, though they have similar structures, all feature a unique style and lesson. Take Bloom and Gloom. It had a more realistic vibe in its dream sequences, though was prone to exaggeration, but not as far as, say, For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, which had plenty of free-falling segments, and it had a more out-of-world feel. Sleepless in Ponyville also follows this sensation, but in a more rigid and intense case. The lessons learned are also presented in interesting ways. All 3 Crusaders are sort of punishing themselves in their dreams for what they think they're at fault with, at least from the start. For instance, Scootaloo plagued herself with nightmares through fear and anxiety, not just because of a spooky tale, but by how her idol would see her if her fears were revealed. Sweetie Belle also started with self-inflicted tears, but since she was still at a misunderstanding of where her faults lied, had to have the perspective revealed to her. And finally, Apple Bloom was anxious about her cutie mark. Again. And whirled herself through every horrid what-if scenario she could imagine. Each lesson was brought about through Princess Luna's direct intervention, whether by calming the dream or by cranking it up a few notches to prove a point. In all cases, she was sympathetic yet firm. She went very personal, especially in For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, where she relates her own past experiences with her sister to Sweetie Belle's own overshadowing situation. As a whole, I would say this is a pretty strong trilogy, with perhaps a lackluster conclusion. If I had to rank these episodes from strongest to weakest, it would probably go number 1, For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, number 2, Sleepless in Ponyville, and number 3, Bloom and Gloom. Now 1 and 2 honestly might be more at a tie. They were both great episodes, Sleepless in Ponyville being the starter that caught us all by surprise, and For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils a strong follow-up that dealt with a relatable situation. What it all came down to was my personal opinion. Yes, I know, sorry, go cry and make your own video about it. But what put Sweetie Belle's arc over Scootaloo's for me had to do with the relatability. I've been there. You put your heart and soul into something, and what do you know? Some other goody-goody gets the recognition you wanted and felt you deserved after all the hard work you put in. Sure, maybe that person didn't mean any harm, but gosh dang it, why'd you have to be so good at that thing you did? I'm also not too fond of the idea of Rainbow Dash being a mentor for Scootaloo. She's just not the best role model, and this episode hammered in that this was the position Dash was going to be taking up. She's reckless, unreceptive, insensitive, irresponsible, sometimes just a freaking idiot. I'm not a big fan. Still a good episode, though. Of course, all that's left is Bloom and Gloom. Again, the weakest. And that's because it was just so dang predictable. Apple Bloom has always been the member of the CMC most obsessed with getting her cutie mark, so her dream arc being about that came as no surprise and was not entirely welcome. I appreciate that they tried to do something different with her obsession, all the ways a cutie mark could fail, but there just wasn't enough. Before she goes to bed, she practically lists all the scenarios we're going to experience with her, and they play out about as much as we would imagine. And since the dreamscape sticks to realism, it doesn't offer too much visually, at least until Thank the Mares Above Luna comes on. Oh, Luna, where you been this whole episode? Hush, I don't even care what the lesson is, just let me stare at you until the credits roll. All in all, this arc is one to make into a playlist. Maybe just skip over Bloom and Gloom and every part with Rainbow Dash. I'm Heather Blossom, and am I going to wake up anytime soon? I really do need to get to that princess exam.